The Galactic Council chamber fell silent as the transmission ended. 700 species, representing civilizations that had thrived among the stars for millennia, sat in stunned disbelief. High Counselor Zethkar, of the Altarian Collective, slowly lowered his crystalline appendages, the bioluminescent patterns on his carapace flickering with barely contained dread. "Replay the sensor data," he commanded, his voice carrying across the vast amphitheater through neural translation matrices. The holographic display materialized above the assembly, a three-dimensional map of local space-time. For the past 6 months, the Council had been monitoring a newly discovered species called humans, inhabitants of a small blue world in Sector 7739. Initial contact protocols had been established, diplomatic overtures prepared. The humans seemed primitive, but promising. They had barely achieved nuclear fusion, and their fastest vessels couldn't even reach their own outer planets efficiently. But then something impossible had appeared on their sensors. Technical analyst Mordin of the Silicon Courts stepped forward, her robotic form clicking against the chamber floor. Council members, at 14:27 Galactic Standard Time, human vessel designation UESS Prometheus has achieved faster-than-light transit using an unknown propulsion method. A ripple of concerned murmurs swept through the assembly. The vegan representatives began rapid chittering among themselves, while the gas form entities of Nebula Prime visibly darkened with alarm. "That's not the disturbing part," Mordine continued, her optical sensors focusing on the display. "Observe the method of transition." The hologram zoomed in, showing the moment of the human ship's departure. Instead of the clean dimensional fold of proper Alcubierre drive technology, or the elegant quantum tunneling employed by most civilized species, something else entirely had occurred. Reality had torn. The space around the human vessel had simply ripped apart, like fabric being shredded by invisible claws. The ship had disappeared into what could only be described as a wound in the universe itself, leaving behind distortions in space-time that were still registering on their most sensitive instruments. Elder Vashti, of the Ethereal Communion, raised her translucent form, her telepathic voice echoing in every mind present. "This is not faster-than-light travel. This is dimensional violation. They have torn a hole through the barriers between realities." High Counselor Zethkar felt his bioluminescence dim with growing horror. For over 50,000 years, the Galactic Council had maintained one absolute principle: the dimensional barriers were inviolate. Every species that had achieved interstellar travel had learned this fundamental truth: you worked with the universe's natural laws, not against them. Space could be folded, quantum states could be manipulated, but you never, ever tore holes in reality itself. "Sir," Mordin's mechanical voice carried a tremor of uncertainty, "there's more. Our deep space monitoring stations have detected 17 additional human vessels using the same propulsion method across their local cluster." The simple statement sent a chill through the entire assembly. Zethkar's bioluminescence flickered in confusion. "You? No? Then why do you continue using this method?" Rodriguez was silent for a long moment, her gaze seeming to look past the camera towards something the Council couldn't see. When she spoke again, her voice carried the weight of terrible knowledge. "Because we've seen what's on the other side of those barriers, Counselor. And it's already noticed us." The holographic display behind her changed, showing deep space sensor readings that made no sense to the Council's advanced instruments. Massive structures moved through what appeared to be interdimensional space geometries that violated every understanding of physics, entities that existed in more dimensions than the universe should allow. "We call them the Void Architects," Rodriguez continued. "They've been watching our universe from outside reality for eons, waiting for someone to make the first breach. Our scientists calculated that within 50 years, they would find a way through naturally occurring dimensional weak points. Elder Vashti's ethereal form began to pulse with terror. You deliberately tore holes in reality to, what? Invite them in? No, Rodriguez's smile held no warmth. We tore holes to let ourselves out. Every human FTL jump isn't just transportation. It's reconnaissance. We're mapping their realm, learning their weaknesses, preparing for the war that's been coming since the universe began. She paused, her expression becoming almost sympathetic. Your species achieved FTL by working within natural laws because you're civilized. You see barriers and think boundaries to respect. Humans see barriers and think walls to break through. We're not exploring the universe, counselor. We're conducting a military survey of the battlefield. The transmission ended, leaving the Galactic Council in horrified silence. They had made contact with a species that didn't just violate the laws of physics, they treated reality itself as an enemy to be conquered. High Counselor Zethkar slowly rose from his seat, his ancient form trembling with the implications of what they had just learned. Around him, the representatives of 700 civilizations sat in stunned realization that they were no longer the apex of galactic development. They were civilians in a war zone, and the humans were already mobilizing for a conflict that would be fought across dimensions they couldn't even comprehend. In the depths of space, the UESS Prometheus completed another jump, its passage leaving behind a brief glimpse of writhing shadows and impossible geometries. The crew went about their duties with mechanical efficiency, each of them knowing that their ship wasn't just exploring the galaxy, it was scouting the approaches to humanity's next target. The Void Architects had noticed the breaches. Soon, they would come. But they would find that humans had noticed them first.